Hey guys, so this is going to be my brush tutorial. It's going to be kind of a little breakdown of different types of brushes, what I use them for, a quick little demonstration I'll put up on the side, and I'll also do like some close-up of the actual brushes because you might not be able to see them like very well from here. I just wanted to give you guys, I guess, some basic knowledge on brushes. I am not a professional when it comes to makeup or makeup brushes, so I'm kind of giving you the information that I have learned over the years, and you know, nothing is on a professional level, I guess. So in the demonstration and stuff, it's just going to be things that I find that I prefer to use the brushes for, and it may be a different use for you or somebody else. So just keep that in mind when you're critiquing this video. And also I'm going to add some more information on my blog, and I'll put that link below as well, so you guys can go to that if you want to find out a little more information. That's enough of an intro. First off, I want to tell you about the actual makeup brush. So there are 3 parts to a standard makeup brush. Some of them have only 2 parts, as you'll see. But for the most part, they come in 3 parts. They have the bristles, the ferrule, and the handle. A lot of times the bristles are made of 3 types of things. It can be natural bristles. So that could be like goat hair, squirrel hair, pony hair, sable, something along those lines. It can also be made out of synthetic, and it could also be Duo-Fibre. So synthetic would just be like a man-made product. It may have more of a plasticky feel to the bristles, and the Duo-Fibre is a mixture between the two. So it's a mixture of natural and of the synthetic bristles. Obviously there's a reasoning for having a different type of brush. Like, why should you have a natural brush? Are they better because they're from animal hair and not a man-made product? Not necessarily. You're going to want to have different bristles for different things that you do. So a natural brush like this one, for example, is for powders. It makes blending a lot easier. It's more of a fluffy texture to it, and it's really, really great whether it's in an eyeshadow or in a blush brush or a contour brush or any sort of thing like that. It definitely makes the look more natural and blends a lot easier. And the synthetic brushes, they are best for using with liquid makeup, so like foundations, cream eyeshadows, concealers, that sort of thing. They don't pick up as much pigment or product of the makeup you're using. So in other words, you're getting your makeup onto the brush, and then if you're putting it onto your face, for example, with foundation, it's actually going onto your face. The brush isn't absorbing all the makeup that you just put on there. So that's good in a sense for liquid, because you don't want your brushes to eat up all your makeup. And then the Duo-Fibre is a blend of like an animal hair and a synthetic, like this blush brush here, and this provides a very airbrushed finish. You can also get like stippling brushes that are similar to this. A lot of people like to use that for foundation because then it provides that airbrushed finish. Provides a very lightweight application, very buildable application, which is also really nice, especially when it comes to blush. I love it for this reason, because sometimes you put it on it with a synthetic and you get so much on there, you only want a little dusting, and then you can always go back in there and build it and build it. So next what I'm going to do now is go through all of my brushes here. These are the main ones. I left out maybe 2 or 3 brushes. And tools, I'll say, because there's one tool here as well. So what I'm going to do is go through each one and what I use it for really quickly, and then like I said on my blog, I'm just going to put on my blog the actual, like, my favorite brushes that like I can't do without, and brushes that I think that everyone should own that they shouldn't have to do without, you know, just to get the job done. You don't need to have 100 brushes, okay? The reasoning for having a lot of brushes sometimes, a lot of eye brushes especially, is if you're doing a lot of different looks and you don't want to have to be washing your brushes very often, it's nice to have a few shader brushes or blending brushes, because those are the ones that you use the most often. Also, if you're doing makeup on anybody else, it's nice to have a few different ones as well, because if you're doing makeup on yourself, you can spot clean in between them, but if you're doing them on other people, then you want to make sure you clean them really well, or the easier way is just to have another brush that's clean and ready to go in somebody else, so you don't have to share them between people. In between using colors, like if you're going to use an eyeshadow that's like a blue on your shader brush and that's the only brush you have, preferably you could dedicate one for light colors and one for dark colors, but if you don't and you want to spot clean, as I say, in between, these are a couple of the ones that I use for spot cleaning in between. I have the Quo and the Mary Kay one there, and all I do usually is spray a little bit onto an old face cloth at my desk or a tissue, and then I'll rub the brush and bristles into it until most of the color comes off of them. and then just brush it in my hand and let that dry a little bit and then go into the next. I'll put a link below as how to actually wash, like thoroughly deep clean your brushes. I normally do that about every 10 to 12 days, depending on how, I guess, much I'm using the brushes and stuff like that. The foundation brush especially needs to get a good deep cleaning because that one's used every single day, sometimes twice a day. For all over the face, I have two different brushes here for foundation. Again, I'll put the close-ups up in the corner here so I don't have to be lifting them all over my face. So I have the Sigma Flat Angled Kabuki, the F88, and the Sigma Flat Kabuki, the F80. The only difference in these two is that one is completely flat, and the other one, I guess they're both flat. One is angled and one is just perpendicular. No. One's flat and one is angled. It provides the most airbrush finish with any foundation that I've put on. There's been foundations that I didn't really fussy before, and then trying them over again with this brush, it has like completely reopened my eyes to the product. Very light circular motions, and you've seen this in my video a million times if you've watched the tutorials and stuff, and it just like, oh my gosh, it just blends so well, and it feels so soft on the face. It's amazing. Sometimes if that one's really dirty and I need to deep clean it, that's when I will use the backup, the angled one. This one does get in under the eyes really well though, which doesn't really matter because I usually have a concealer, but anyway, it's more of like my backup having this one as well. I like to use a beauty blender as well. This is a tool that I was going to tell you about. This definitely can be used for blending like your BB cream or anything like that, like a liquid concealer is what I usually use it for blending it underneath the eye. Just make sure it's dampened, and I like to dampen it with warm water because sometimes the heat from your fingers when you're putting it on helps it sit into your skin better. So by using warm water, I don't know, I feel like that's going to help be similar to the fingers and the warmth of your fingers when you're applying your product and that sort of thing. So then for like all over powder, if you want to set your foundation, I have a flat Kabuki brush. This is a really soft one. It's synthetic, but it feels very natural. And I forget the name of this. I'll put it down below in the description, all the different brushes. Really great for all over setting if you have a pressed powder or a loose powder and you want to use it to set your makeup. Then I have this big Ecotools one, and then I have this Real Techniques buffing brush. This is a bit smaller though. I don't prefer this one for an all over powder. But again, sometimes I'll use it for like just on my T-zone. Sometimes if I get a little bit and I need a little bit of powder, that's when I'll use it a lot of times. I'll often use bronzing. This is the Duo-Fibre Quo bronzing powder brush. And I'll use this a lot of times just to go around the frame of the face and give it a little bit of a sun-kissed glow, because again, it provides very light application. And for actually contouring, you could use any one of these brushes actually. This is a Real Techniques contour brush. This one is the Quo Base Contour Brush, and this is a Sigma Tapered Highlighter, the F35. So all three of these are really great. This one's natural, okay? So this one's best to use with powder. This is synthetic and this is synthetic, but they're both, I think all of them work equally well. This one might actually work the best, the natural haired Quo one, I think. It might be my favorite for that. So what I use this one here for though is for contouring with a darker color underneath the jaw. What I like it is because it's so small and rounded and it's really easy to get underneath there. This one's angled. So why I like this one is that I can kind of tap it down and then use the bigger bristles to buff it and brush it upwards. And this one here, the Tapered Highlighter from Sigma, you could use this for contouring as well. It's very similar almost in the size and the shape of the Real Techniques. But I like to use this one for highlighting on the top of my cheekbones. I've been wanting to get a fan brush for that purpose, just to try it out and see. I've never used a fan brush before. To me, I don't see it being, I don't feel like I need that other tool to help me do my highlighting. This one works fine for me, but I feel like this one could be used for something else, and buy like a cheap fan brush for the highlight just to dust it on lightly. Then for blush, this is my go-to blush brush. It's the only blush brush that I have, and it's the only blush brush that I want to use ever. Like, I have no desire to use another blush brush since I've had this. The funny thing is though, when I first bought this brush, I hated it. I completely hated it when I first got it. I was so used to using like almost like a smaller synthetic brush like this actually. And I was so used to using a synthetic brush, and I guess I had gotten used to using that. And then when I got this, it was like, I don't know, it was almost like there was only a few strands that would hit my face or something, and I just didn't know how to use it, I guess. But the more I used it and tried to get a chance and used it, I just fell in love with it, and I can't get over how nice it is. Another face brush is this little one from Real Techniques. It's the pointed foundation brush. I honestly have not used this yet because I do use, like I said, the Beauty Blender for blending out my concealer. This would be the next brush that I would recommend to you if you had this core collection from Real Techniques. Because this one seems like it would be really, really nice for patting it around the eyes, your concealer, and blending that out. Then I'm going to get into these guys. First off, eyebrows. These are the things that I use for the eyebrows. Now, I don't have my little NYX cake powder compact here. Normally I use a little spoolie that's in that NYX thing that comes with this little tiny mini spoolie to brush my eyebrows first. But I do have this dual-ended Makeup Geek brush, and it has a spoolie on one end and a small angled brush on the other end. I don't use this because it's fairly thick. But I do use the spoolie sometimes to brush my brows out before and after I have filled them in with eyeshadow. To fill them in with eyeshadow, I use this flat definer brush from Sigma, the E15. It is absolutely amazing for eyebrows. I used to use like a small angled brush to fill them in with eyeshadow and wax. I still use those products, but I use this flat definer brush, and it is so much better. It's a flat definer brush, so it's not an eyebrow pencil only. You could use this for a lot of different things. You could do it for highlighting underneath the brow. You could do it for underlining under the eye with a line of bright color, or just a neutral color even, and then buffing it out. I have used this a lot for underneath the eye. Or you could use it on the top of the lid for packing on a darker color for like a substitute for an eyeliner. So I definitely recommend that brush. And for packing color on all over the lid, the brush that I use the most is actually the e.l.f. brush. So this is just the e.l.f. eyeshadow brush. I think this was $1 or $1.50 at like the dollar store or somewhere like that. I absolutely love this brush. I would like to have 4 or 5 of them to have them here because they're so inexpensive and they're great when you're switching between different colors. I usually use this brush for a light color to pack on all over the lid, and it just works really, really well. It's a great size, it's a great thickness. It doesn't hold on to too much product. It's really, really, really nice. So then for blending, when you want to control your blending and smoking that out, these are 2 really great brushes. Actually 3, I will say. But the third one is kind of different in its own way. So this Makeup Geek Stiff Dome brush. This is the newer one to my collection. This one's really nice for blending it out. This took place of the Mary Kay buffing or blending brush that I had because that one was just getting worn and losing a lot of bristles and stuff. So this Makeup Geek one, it works really, really well. The quality I'll say is okay. There's a few brushes like bristles that I'll notice that are kind of sticking out and coming out and stuff. But that could be from mishandling when I'm putting them back into the holder or something, who knows. So this Real Techniques base shadow brush has become my new favorite eyeshadow brush, period. Whether it's packing and coloring the lid, blending as a pencil, whatever, this is my favorite eyeshadow brush now. The reason why I love it so much is because the bristles are very, very soft, yet they're very flexible. They're not too stiff, but they're stiff enough using a light hand. So I have definitely applied all over color with it, and where it's shaped into like a dome, it works really, really well for getting in the crease and blending color. I use this for blending a lot now because it's so soft, and you could also use a small tip on the end just for putting a little bit of color in your outer V and then buffing it as well. It is an amazing brush. I have these 2 brushes, like I said. I could use that Real Technique one for the pencil brush purpose, which would be for applying, color specifically to one spot. This Makeup Geek brush, I don't have a name on this one, but this one's almost like the stiff dome brush from Makeup Geek that I talked about just before this. And it's actually firmer, it's more stiff than the previous one. And this works similar to a pencil brush. And then the Sigma pencil brush, the E30, I use this one most often for that purpose. We're applying a really, really bright color or a very dark, like charcoal black color, dark brown, to intensify the outer lid. I have this small angle brush from Sigma, the E65, and this is my go-to brush for gel eyeliner. I don't use it for anything but gel eyeliner, and I've been wearing gel eyeliner for a while now, and I just absolutely love it. It's so intense, it's so crazy. When you want it to be crazy, you can wing it out, or you can make it very subtle and thin with this brush. It's really, really, really great. I don't take as good care of it as I should. Like, I don't clean it after every use, which I should, because it gets gunked up and I know it's going to wear down over time. So for being one of my favorite brushes, I probably should, you know, take good care of them, so I can take good care of it. And then I have these 4 little brushes here. So this is a fine liner brush, I believe it's called that, or it's a pixel point eyeliner brush. I use this for many different purposes. I have used it for eyeliner at the top or the bottom with bright color or dark color. Yeah, I think I've used it like on my Cupid's bow, even with highlighter before. Anything that you would need a really, really tiny brush for, this is good to have. Now the Real Techniques Detailer brush. This one I really like for applying a highlight to the inner canvas of my eye. Again, Cupid's bow or something like that. And then underneath the eyebrow for highlighting with a shimmer. It's really, really nice to use that for that. Then I have the accent brush from the Real Techniques collection, the eyeshadow collection. It's a bit shorter version of the Detailer brush, and a little thinner bristles, and it's more flatter on the top. And this one I mostly just use this for blending out my eyebrow highlighter. When I go over with the Cella eyebrow highlighter, then I use this to buff out that strong line. And then I have a Mary Kay eye smudger brush, and again, this is just usually for buffing out that line that I put in underneath my lower lash line, but you could use it for the inner eye or under the brow or something small like that as well. Alright, thanks for watching. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully it wasn't an overload of information. I try to keep it to the point, very basic. Hopefully the little clips were helpful as well. And make sure you check out my blog, because I'm going to have a little bit more information there about some of these, and have like still photos and that sort of thing, so you guys can have a better look at it and take some notes if you need to. Do you need all this brushes? Absolutely not. That's why it's nice to go and check out the website, because I'm kind of going to break it down to what I think. Of course, this is all my opinion. Everything is my opinion on this channel anyway, but the brushes that I think that everybody should have to do a full face of makeup. You know, if you're not into eyeshadow, well, obviously you're not going to need all those brushes. Or if you don't wear liquid foundation, then you're not going to need all these brushes. But to do a full face, those are the brushes that I think that would be great to have in your collection. And most of them are inexpensive, or they're affordable considering the quality that they are, because if you do wash them and take care of them, they can last you a very long time. And for some of the brushes, I think they're worth the money. Others, not so much. So, yeah. Again, go check it out. Make sure to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already, guys. I really, really appreciate your support. I love seeing my subscribers creeping up and up, and it's really great to see, slowly but surely. And I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. So thanks for watching. Bye.